Abrego Garcia is back in the United States. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland's favorite criminal. He's back. They went and had margaritas, and now he can have margaritas stateside with him because he's back, but he is in federal custody, and he is being charged with trafficking. So the DOJ, Trump says this wasn't his thing. He says it was Pam Bondi, and she announced on Friday he's back in the U.S. He's facing federal human trafficking charges in the Middle District of Tennessee, which is Nashville, charged with 1 count of conspiracy to transport aliens and 1 count of unlawful transportation of undocumented aliens. He faces 10 years in prison. They say not only did he transport aliens, he transported children throughout the U.S. in an unsafe manner. He allegedly abused undocumented alien females. He trafficked firearms and narcotics. His lawyer says deny, and this is an abuse of power. You're just trying to cover your mistake in deporting him to El Salvador, the one country he could not be deported to. And then on top of this, the government moved to keep him behind bars before trial. And in their motion for pre-trial detention, the feds allege that he, Abrego Garcia, Chris Van Hollen's buddy, murdered a gang rival's mother in El Salvador. You may remember, Miranda, that he only got this like withholding of removal order. They were deporting him. He had been found deportable, saying, get out. But they said, all right, we won't deport you to El Salvador because you convinced the immigration judge that if you go back there, you could get killed. And the way he convinced the immigration judge of that is he said, I'm going to get killed by this gang, this like, I can't remember the name of it. It had something, it was had the name, the 18th Street Gang. They're going to kill me. And the judge bought it. So that was the reason why we could deport him anywhere, but not to El Salvador. And then when we deported him, he went to El Salvador, which, by the way, was fine because this 18th Street Gang has apparently been dissipated. And when the condition of the danger is removed, you can be removed. In any event, we've been fighting over this guy who's alleged to be a wife beater and a trafficker now. And what the feds are alleging, not as a claim against him, not as a count against him, but as a reason to detain him pending trial, is that they say, according to a co-conspirator, the defendant stated on how he got into MS-13. He participated in the murder of a rival gang member's mother in El Salvador, specifically the mother of an 18th Street Gang member. Later, as part of his immigration proceedings, the defendant claimed he could not return to El Salvador because he was in fear of retribution from the 18th Street Gang. And he tried to spin this as being about his mother making some sort of food that the gang didn't want her to make because they had like a rival business to it. No, what the feds are now saying is he killed one of their moms. That's why he was in fear of his life. This is insane. This is why you should really figure out these people's backgrounds before you go sip margaritas with them in El Salvador.
Absolutely. And before judges go making these bleeding heart decisions. And, you know, also Pam Bondi mentioned that they haven't charged him with this, but they're investigating allegations that this guy solicited child porn. So not a nice person. And I think that this was a Pyrrhic victory for the Democrats because, yes, they did manage to force the Trump administration to undeport him from El Salvador, but he's now been slapped with all these charges, and we can see who he is, who is the poster boy for the Democrats that they are willing to die in a ditch for. And it's this guy, the worst of the worst, you know, alleged murderer, alleged wife beater, alleged solicitor of child porn, gun trafficker, drug trafficker, human trafficker, abuser of women and children. I mean, you know, does it get worse? So I just, again, think the Democrats have tied themselves to this man. And the more we see of him, the less sympathetic he looks.
It's truly insane. Here's Senator Chris Van Hollen, the buddy of Abrego Garcia, on where he thinks all of this leaves us. This is CNN on Friday.
You know, I will never apologize for defending the Constitution. In fact, it's the Trump administration and all his cronies who should apologize to the country for putting us through this unnecessary situation, and to Abrego Garcia for putting him through this situation and his family. All I have said from the beginning is that the Trump administration should respect the rule of law and the Constitution of the United States. So really, it's President Trump who should apologize to the country for violating his oath to the Constitution. I'm glad in this moment they're finally doing what the Supreme Court said, but they continue, Anderson, to violate the Constitution in many, many other cases.
Trump should apologize to Abrego Garcia, who apparently, if one word of this is true, lied, came here illegally, then lied to try to stay here illegally about the danger he was in due to his mother's food business, and was rightfully deported back to El Salvador, now is coming back to face criminal charges here. And Tom Homan said, as soon as that's done, if he serves time or not, either way, not guilty or guilty and serves time, he's right back to El Salvador. And this moron wants President Trump to apologize to him.
I know. He really is a despicable person, and so weak and so pandering and so vain. He's there on television day after day, posing as this kind of virtuous, saintly person. I guess there are people who believe it, and he comforts himself on that. But again, the Democrats are just on the wrong side of an issue that most Americans are against. Most Americans don't want, in fact, a majority of Americans want deportation of illegal migrants, and 75% want these gangbangers deported. So I don't know, their constituency is what? I think what they're trying to do, and they're being aided and abetted in this by the media, by the New York Times, the Washington Post, etc., day after day, sob stories about these migrants. They don't say illegal. They conflate illegal with legal migration, and then make out as if Donald Trump is against migrants, which is ridiculous in a country of migrants. So, everyone's from somewhere. And Donald Trump himself, he's married to an immigrant. His mother was an immigrant. He's not anti-immigrant. He's anti-illegal migration that happened under Joe Biden, which was an absolute catastrophe for this country and is going to take decades to put right.
It's so true. It's amazing. So now you've got, he wants him to say he's sorry. Van Hollen wants Trump to say he's sorry to a guy who now appears to be he is an illegal immigrant here, who had a deportation order, who staved it off with what appears to be a lie about danger because of his mother's food business, who is now accused of trafficking people into the United States, untold numbers of illegals, mistreating children in that process, allegedly into kiddie porn. We know from the wife's allegations for protective orders that he's an accused wife beater, on top of everything, may have committed a murder in El Salvador of somebody's mother. And now we're supposed to feel sorry for him. He's the victim, and be mad at Trump for deporting him. Got it. Good luck with that message on your next campaign, Democrats. Father's Day is coming up. Let's celebrate all the great fathers out there who have had such a positive influence on our kids and our nation. You want to celebrate a special dad? How about brightening his day by giving him a gift of Riverbend Ranch steaks? Yes, anybody would love to receive this. Riverbend Ranch has been recognized by the team at Certified Angus Beef as having some of the finest quality black Angus beef in America. The difference in quality and flavor is not by accident. For the last 35 years, the Riverbend Ranch has been raising black Angus cattle with a focus on flavor and tenderness, carefully sorting the genetics to produce the absolute best quality beef. And they raise their beef the old-fashioned way, without artificial growth hormones and without antibiotics. Riverbend Ranch is all about quality. Last year, the Engineering News Record named the Riverbend Ranch Beef Processing Facility as the best manufacturing facility built in the U.S. in 2024. Exceptional American beef, grown and processed in America. For a very special Father's Day, order directly from riverbendranch.com. This is a great gift. Your dad will not be expecting this. This is like, what do you normally get him, a tie? This is a really cool one that he's really going to enjoy, and so are you. riverbendranch.com. Use promo code Megyn to get $20 off your first order. riverbendranch.com, promo code MEGYN. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.